Hey guys, so we are off to the New Orleans Book Fair, which used to be Noca's Fest. It's technically not Noca's Fest because Noca's Fest was a zine fest, but it's run by the same people. So I'm actually really excited because I used to love Noca's Fest, and the people who organized Noca's Fest are just really nice people. So it's nice to see them again. This is Joseph's first time going. He never got to go to Noca's Fest. It was usually my brother and I. So funny story, I forgot I had the show this weekend, and Joseph reminded me. I was gone all day yesterday, and Joseph reminded me at 10 o'clock at night, and I was so grumpy, not because I had the show, but because my ADHD self forgot, and I was scrambling at 11 o'clock p.m. to get ready for a show. This year has just been like my most ADHD year in my entire life, I think, including my entire childhood. So see, I make those kind of mistakes, generally not frequently, but it happens. And I was just fortunate that this is going to be a low-key show for us because it's like 11 to 4, so mostly just focusing on books, but I did bring charms, my acrylic charms and stickers as well, but not hard to prep when it's a low-key show and everything's already still kinda together from the last show. So do you have anything you want to say, Joseph? No, you good? Okay, so it is in the main branch library in New Orleans, which means parking is kind of hinky. They have a parking lot, and in the past it's been for vendors, but my mom, brother, and I used to be able to park in that parking lot because they have a handicap tag, because 2 of my family members were disabled, so we do not. So who knows how parking may be. Joseph drops me off and finds some place to park. We'll find out, but I'll let you guys know. And hopefully I don't expect to make a lot of money, but it would be nice to just hang out with comic-y people again. I had a lot of fun at CXC and realized that I really, really missed that. And that's a big part of the reason Kara has been so hard and such a hiatus, is because I just am not, all my comic friends left during the pandemic. They left comics. So I have to make new comic friends, and it's hard during a pandemic. So I'm hoping that I'll meet some other people and just have a good day, probably, hopefully. I did check the email. Okay, so this is the New Orleans Public Library. We parked in the employee parking lot. We're gonna ask about parking once we get inside just to double check, but historically this is where they had vendors park for Noca's Fest, so it would make sense to me if they allowed us to continue to park here. And it's right on Tulane Avenue. Okay, set up. Okay, so it's about 20 minutes till opening, and this is what everything is looking like so far. Hello, good morning. So I am tabling at the New Orleans Book Fair today. I always want to say Noca's Fest, but they've changed. And it's about 20 minutes until the show opens. And this is kind of my abbreviated non-anime con, non-craft fair setup. So I've got the books. Joseph talked me into bringing the minis, we'll see. And I've also got some general cute stuff, as well as a couple of the Paint Your State kits left. So I'm looking forward to kind of a chill day, getting to hang out and talk about comics. Okay, so it is 3 o'clock. This is a one-day show. It ends at 4. So I wanted to give you guys kind of a look at the setup for right now. So those of you who remember Noca's Fest, this is about the same size that Noca's Fest was kind of like the first year. And this is so they did this show in 2019. And then the pandemic hit, and that kind of derailed everything. So this is their first year back. So they've had a small, like, talking area back there. They've done various things there. And then basically a T-shaped row, as well as some empty tables, unfortunately. So I'm going to give a longer So I'm going to give a longer show recap after the show when I've had a chance to crunch the numbers and eat something and decompress. But first of all, the tables were free. So we basically paid for a tank of gas, not even a tank of gas really at our time, and parking was free. They are probably going to go back to charging for tables once they get kind of reestablished. I think they're trying to reestablish this as a thing, and I appreciate the tables being free because it means we're not eating that cost. I wish I had promoted that I was coming. I'd meant to. That wasn't an intentional omission. It was my ADHD brain forgetting where I was in the month, like literally what day of the month we were at. Sales picked up as the day went on, and I think as the show has a chance to like reestablish its roots, and as you know, more people find out about the show and are tabling and are telling people to come, I think it'll get even better. Like Locust Fest was getting really cool, so I think the book fair is primed for that as well. So would I recommend you traveling a long distance to come here? If you have book fairs in your own area, not necessarily. However, if you're in the area and you make your own books, or you work with a publisher, or you make comics and zines, I do think you should come out, if only because this is our community and getting to participate in our community is really important. And the whole part of making shows better is by showing up for them as a customer and as somebody with stuff to represent. So I'll definitely be coming next year, barring, I don't know, an emergency or something happening that same weekend. If you're in the area, I highly recommend that you either put in for a table or come check it out. And I will talk to you guys more. Well, Joseph, you've never done Noka's Fest. What were some things that you liked about the book fair today?
The music, like I said.
Music's been really good.
They did also feed us a little bit.
Yeah, they have had a green room with some food. I waited too long to eat, so I didn't get anything. But that was on me, not on them. What else did you like about the show?
There was a good variety here.
So we were kind of interrupted mid-conversation. I forgot what you were saying about what you liked, and I'm so sorry.
It was nice that they fed us. I said the music was nice. Good variety here.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the main things. The parking was very convenient.
So it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this as an activity for any of your friends? Not to table, but just to come.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, so we got to start doing our part to help spread the word, which is technically what this is.
Yeah, my family doesn't read that much, and I didn't invite them.
No, I'm not blaming you. That's why I said friends.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I never win anything, and I managed to get 4th place in the raffle. There's so many comics and zines and books in here. I legit think this is one of our fastest breakdowns ever. It took us 8 minutes. So since we were downtown-ish anyway for the book fair, I thought, because we're 5 minutes away and I'm never down here, I thought we could hit Moe's. Trying to get the sign, failing to get the sign, which is in an old church. And they actually have a lot of parking. This place is so pretty. I've been to the Moe's in Baton Rouge. This one seems like it's a lot bigger, and I like the layout a lot better. They have a really nice selection of watercolor supplies. That's primarily what I was interested in, as well as some Japanese novelty stationery and fountain pens up towards the front, as well as inking supplies and printmaking supplies. So basically the areas I'm kind of familiar with, they have a good amount of stuff. I was also really impressed that they have a good amount of parking, because downtown New Orleans is really hit or miss for parking, and it's one of the reasons I don't find myself shopping there too often. So if you're in the area and you like art supplies, Moe's is another place that you ought to check out. It's been a few weeks since the New Orleans Book Fair. Joseph got sick, then we had the holidays, then I got sick. We're both still kind of sick, but I'd like to get this video edited and off my phone, and the weather is also beautiful today, so gotta strike while the iron is hot. And the sun is most definitely in my eyes, so that's the harsh shadows. We set everything up while it was kind of cloudy, and then the clouds kind of cleared, and now it's bright and sunny. So we wanted to start by talking about the books that we purchased at the New Orleans Book Fair. And we also have some minis that we bought that we can't seem to find. So this isn't all inclusive of everything. And since I have developed horrible social anxiety during the pandemic, Joseph was the one who got up and talked to people. I asked him to do that because it's really hard for me these days. So I'll let him talk about the books that he bought and why he bought them.
Sure. So Wake was illustrated by Hugo. What's Hugo's last name? Martinez, who was sitting next to us.
Where's he from?
I forget.
Nashville.
So he definitely lived in Nashville for a period. Excuse me. The book's pretty good. I'm a little more than halfway through. He was very nice.
Yes, he was.
I was interested in the book even before we started talking.
He was also watercoloring at the table, which I thought was a bold move considering it was a 4-hour show. But to me, the thought of bringing like an open watercolor like that is terrifying. So that takes some courage. So go, Hugo.
Yeah, he actually managed to make some progress, which is impressive. And yeah, his work seems cool. So Overstory I picked up from, I believe it was the Tulane booth. It is a very interesting read. It is about a studio in the woods, as it says.
Where's the studio located?
In like kind of southeast of New Orleans.
Oh, that's cool. So it's got drawings, it's got photos.
Yeah, lots of facts about the wildlife. It's essentially a managed woods that contains a few buildings with some studios and things like that.
What kind of artists do they seem to work with?
Excuse me. There's musicians, I believe, that have residences here. I think they only take 2 to 3 residences a year because that's all that their housing will allow them. I think there's also some painters. Sorry, it's a few different types of residences, but it was interesting. I would honestly like to tour the place.
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure if they do that. There's not
We
much
can always
information
ask.
about that in there.
I mean, I'm an artist, so our excuse could be that another artist. Oh, here's some of the minis.
Yeah. I can't remember. I feel like we might have won Ordinary Time, and I probably just pulled it out. So that should be with the
No, well, maybe.
winning books, or it's possible you purchased it.
I didn't get it.
I haven't read it yet. It's mostly poetry. There's some illustrations in there as well. Becca traded.
I did trade.
For some minis.
And a bookmark. From a young, and I'll hold on to those so the wind don't take them. From a young and talented comic artist who was tabling with their parents.
Excuse me. Also from Hugo, we got a kind of fold-out map-like story.
It's a comic for sure because it's sequential art. It's a silent comic.
Yeah.
I love the format of it because I've experimented with folded one-page comics before, but never this kind of format.
So it opens out to basically full poster size, and it works both as a poster and as individual illustrations.
And the art's beautiful.
Farmer's Almanac, I got a Satsuma from him. He seems interesting. It's essentially about microclimates in this area and how to grow things.
That's very cool.
This is the 2022 edition.
Nice.
As far as I understand, the 2021 edition has almost entirely different things in it, so I just asked
need
him
to get a hold of that.
what he recommended and pick that up. This was offered to me for free when I purchased, which is kind of surprising because it's pretty nice, from Tulane when I purchased the
Field Guide?
Overstory. Yeah. So I haven't had a chance to flip through that yet, but very high production.
Yeah, it's really
quality.
nice.
And this was also a giveaway. It looks like it has...
And they were doing that even when it was Nocas Fest. This is like an ongoing newspaper style zine.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's comics in it, sometimes there's illustrations.
Probably can't see the
Yeah,
whole thing.
sorry, it's beautiful.
There's a crow on there. So that is pretty much our entire haul. I think we might be missing one or two minis, but
That we purchased.
yes, that we purchased.
Because we won the raffle, which is pretty cool.
So there was probably, what would you say, 45 tables set up there? Maybe
Some of
40.
them were empty too, and
Mhm.
some people ducked out early. So I think there was physically 45 tables, but like the little half table next to me never filled up. And I don't know if it's because I took a whole table. I'd applied for a whole table, and I wanted to leave that space for someone else who wanted a half table, and nobody came.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how they divvied it up. So we never really got to talk to staff. Like, they were not at the front table for us to sign in. We never signed the paperwork we were supposed to sign because they weren't there for us to sign it, and no one ever brought it by. So I would have loved to find out how many people were tabling, how many people had traveled to be there, how many scholarships they'd given out.
We did see them counting the number of
We
participants.
did, but she never stopped by my table, and I could never flag her down
Oh, I
to
could have
ask.
just asked her. I was watching them count, like
Yeah,
standing right next to
yeah.
them at one point, because I got some photos from up there.
We joked that they were puppeting the show. So I am going to grab the haul that we won, and I'll be right back. So the way the raffle worked is they went around and collected donations from different tables. We donated 4 books. We donated a copy of Volume 1. We donated a copy of Volume 2. We donated a copy of Lilliputian Living and Curious Little Things because I wanted to support the book fest, and since they weren't charging admission or table fees, that is a way that I could help with that. And I believe we won the 3rd or 4th
I think it was
raffle
the
prize. And my handwriting is so atrocious, all they could read was Becca Destrahan. So it's like, I guess I'm the only Becca in Destrahan right now. So our haul came in the anti-gravity bag, and this is actually one of the tables that was across from us, and they were doing anarchist zines, which seemed pretty cool. We haven't really gone through it yet because we wanted to save that for you guys, so I guess I'll do that right now. So I don't actually know. All I knew, because I saw Curious Little Things at the top, and I returned it to him to put in somebody else's bag because I don't need to win my own coloring book. So that's all I know about what's in here. So I'll pull, and Joseph will flip and talk, okay?
Sure. Looks cute.
Yeah.
Looks like a travelogue kind of thing. Looks like it's poetry. There were quite a few poets there. I talked to one for a little while. When I was, they offered pizza and coffee and some other things in the green
Bagels,
room.
I think, too.
Yeah, bagels. So I had a slice of pizza. I didn't want to eat too much because it seemed like there were more people than...
Pizza?
Yeah. So,
I didn't get any pizza, so that's okay.
well,
Joseph
you also
ate the-
didn't
No,
try to
I
get any
wasn't
until the end of the show.
Yeah, I wasn't like complaining. I was saying like, you ate mine, and that's okay. Because I have a fake front tooth, so I have to be really picky about how I eat in public. Because at Mocha Fest one year, somebody told me I eat like a dog, and I just love that. Also, I don't want to pop off the veneer.
Oh, okay. So these are actually pipes. That makes more sense.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it's, I guess, Mario inspired.
Yeah, I'm always telling people zines can be almost any kind of content you want, and this is a really good example of a poetry zine. Ooh, that's pretty. So what was interesting to me is that and I mentioned this at the time, the Uno publishing branch was next to me. We did not really talk. After I put my foot in my mouth, we didn't talk. I helped them with some of their books, and then we had no discussion. They didn't look at my stuff at all. And I didn't see anybody representing the UNO art department there. I didn't see anyone representing the Tulane or the Suno art departments either. So that seems like a potential opportunity if you're an art department and you genuinely care about the artists in your department finding work in the future, is to get out and encourage them to do those kind of opportunities. One of the schools attached to CXC did that. I think that is a wonderful chance for young artists to see some of the job possibilities, some of the art possibilities that are out there outside of a gallery setting. When I went to UNO was gallery or nothing, and that is just not reasonable or sustainable. So I talked over you flipping over this book. This looks gorgeous.
Yeah, so the most interesting thing about it, it's actually not that many pages.
Yeah,
it
it's
like
very heavy
the
stock.
The cover stock, yeah, is the same thing as the interior stock, and it's by Eden Chubb.
I would love to see the originals because they look like they're a combination of cut paper and watercolor, with even some three-dimensionality in there, which is really cool. I don't know if that was done in Photoshop or if that was done if Eden photographed these pages so that you would catch that shadow, but that is a beautiful effect, and that's super cool, and it must have taken forever. So that is very cool.
You think this was made by hand, or you think they sent it out and had it professionally printed and folded? It's like right in between. I
know. I think it could be done. You could even go through cat prints and have them print the pages and then you assemble it. I am not seeing any publisher information, so I would assume.
But they still could have sent it out to a press.
Yeah, but a lot of the presses will put their Garbo imprint on there because free advertising. Ooh.
Yeah, that's like.
We're gonna have to give this as a gift because we already have a copy of this.
Yeah.
So I'll set that aside.
I think this is going to be too hard to open.
Okay, you can just put that aside. We don't have to go through every single thing.
Yep.
New Orleans Community Resource Guide for Resistance and Renewal. That's cool. We're out in the river parishes, but there are some things that are applicable to us, as well as some actions we should be taking.
So it looks like there's information on who to contact.
Lots of different areas, too, which I really appreciate. They should be handing that out at the schools, like at UNO and Suno and
like
Tulane.
Milwaukee kind of stuff.
Some of it, but some of it is also like you are an adult and you are on your own. Where do you turn to if you step on glass at 3 in the morning?
There were some talks like that too that were going on.
Yeah, those are really good. I really enjoyed the talk about knowing your rights as a tenant, because we've gotten screwed over so much over the years by basically every landlord we've ever had. And we just thought that was normal because it was treated like it was normal. But you have a lot more rights than you think you do. I wish they'd recorded that. I hope maybe they did record it because that should be online.
I'm sure it is in some form, although it's different in every state. Everything looks hand-bound, basically, which I guess makes sense. That's kind of the vibe the show at least was going for when it was Nokus Fest. I don't know if that's still their focus. So
I think I did talk to one of the librarians who is helping to organize it, and she's really
Cassandra de Alba.
She's really excited about the name change because it allows them to broaden the scope outside of, she said, just comic artists, which I was kind of like, I tabled every year it was there. I promise you it wasn't just comic artists, but I didn't argue. But I do think that broadening it, so having done the Louisiana Book Festival, I find that when we throw book into the name, it kind of restricts what people think of will be there.
Sure.
So I don't have like a suggestion, but I don't necessarily think naming it a book fair is going to help broaden it. I think it's going to tell comic artists we're not welcome, even though that's not the case. Just because people don't often know what to do with us, as I saw with the Louisiana Book Festival. They don't really know how to utilize us. This one I was eyeballing all day. It looks super cool. I love that cover.
Yeah, they were across from us, I think, right?
Yes, they were.
Oh, they've got a holographic sticker covering it too, so you make sure that it's original and authentic.
I love that.
It's a cute touch.
I'm just, as a child of the late 80s and the 90s, I love that kind of like neon see-through.
And what is caught on? The jelly. This cute jelly.
That's cool. Oh, it's color on the inside.
Yeah.
That's cool. So it's like watercolor and color pencil.
So it
Looks like
kind
a
of
sketchbook.
Yeah. Full color sketchbook.
I like the gimmick because it
That's
makes it. It's
pretty
sometimes
on a
hard.
miller.
It's sometimes hard to sell full color sketchbooks because of the price point. You either have to print them in bulk or you have to sell them for more, so they can be a harder sell. And sometimes a fun gimmick like that is enough to pique people's interest.
And I think that's more poetry because I think I flipped through that.
No, it's a book on tarot.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, they were across from us as well, weren't they?
No, they weren't. These people were, because I went to the bathroom like 8 times. They were all the way at the end and then to the left.
Yeah.
Crime Think for beginners. Wait. There was something about deodorant.
Okay.
8 reasons why capitalists want to sell you deodorant.
Sure enough, there's 8 reasons.
What if I'm a stinky girl and I need deodorant? I could be making my own, but I don't even
It's
cook.
like illustrated guide, I guess.
And it's got a House of Leaves vibes in
Yeah, I
that
see
you
that.
have to like
Something's
flip it
upside
and
down
turn it,
and-
and I really like that.
Yeah, very cut and pasty.
We mean that in a very good way.
Yeah.
Alright, thumbs up, not the other sign. Okay, so there's some small. Okay, so we met Caesar Meadows at ALAAC 2017. Super cool, makes these adorable micro mini comics. And I meant to send you over because he had a box set of them. And I just kept getting distracted. Hey, that's mint in bag.
Mm-hmm. It's meant to be opened.
Well,
We'll open it carefully.
please open it carefully.
And probably allow it to be resealed.
Yeah. It's very cute.
So I'm reading Bitsy and Rootsy Roach. Where's under the camera?
Oh, it's so little. It doesn't want to
it's
focus.
Slightly larger
Isn't it tiny?
than my thumbnail. Yeah.
Oh.
You want to see the inside. It is not in full color. I'm just
It would be unreadable if it was full color. Because it's so little, your eye would just smush it.
That's cute.
And then ooh, hey.
Don't know how we're gonna play that.
Oh, DJ Rotten Milk. Oh, dang it. The wind wanted to take our micro mini. Nighttime, Right Time as a cassette. I love it. We don't have a way to play it like that, but maybe there's like a download link or something, or we could stream it.
There's a Patreon link.
Cool.
I don't think so.
I support a lot of artists, but I don't necessarily support any musicians. It would be pretty cool to, And then, finally, This is our, you put this in here, right? It's our donation patch?
No, I think
you
that's
did?
an additional one.
Oh, cool. Cool. Okay. So Books to Prisoners was across from us, and we, of course, we donated some money. Can't really donate any books because kids' books don't really fit into the category of what they're allowed to have. But it's still a really good cause, and they should certainly have access to more books than just the Bible. Like, that's kind of messed up. So we definitely wanted to support that, and you should sew this, or I should sew it for you if you want, onto one of your backpacks or something.
Maybe, or a pair of jeans or something.
Yeah, a pair of jeans right on the butt. Or you could start a jean jacket.
No.
No, okay. All right, so since some time has passed, what are your thoughts on the New Orleans Book Fair? Because you never went to Nocas Fest, so you don't have any preconceived notions.
It was very nice. The parking, at least for the tablers, was very convenient. We just walked in. Everything kind of worked out. We sat up at our table. People, a reasonable amount of people were probably shopping early. Not like...
Well, this was their first year back after, like, 2 years off.
It was in a library public space, so you had people who didn't really know what was going on, and that's normal when you're in a library.
That's actually one of the
things. It was a good show. There was a variety of people who were tabling there.
Yeah.
There were some poets, there were some traditional novelists, there were some graphic novelists, some zine creators. I don't know what you would call it.
Zinesters, I think, is the term.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there was anyone there who was just selling prints or anything like that.
And by that, we mean like Anime Con style, where it's just fan art.
Yeah.
We have zero problem at all with people selling like just their original artist prints. That's cool.
Obviously, the show curated.
I don't know if they did. I think it was more itself curated.
Sure.
Because this isn't a venue where you're going to make buku money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a venue where you can count on fandom loyalty to help sell your goods.
Yep.
So there's a lot of hand selling. One of the things I like library shows because it does bring in new people, and it's a chance to talk to people who might be interested in comics, but they never got into them early on, or to talk to new potential readers. It's just a different venue. Also, I love the like sort of kismet of it, where someone might have just gone to the library to go to the library, and they happened to see that a book fair was going on, and that's kind of exciting. I think a lot of us have really good memories of like the Scholastic book fairs, so it kind of can tap into that. There was one lady who was really upset that people were selling things at the public library, and that's like not an invalid concern. That's actually something a lot of the libraries I've worked with, they have to decide for themselves, and finding those boundaries is really important. But it is a public space, and by allowing local and not so local artists to sell their work there, it also gives the public an opportunity, like just your average person, an opportunity to talk to a poet and ask them what their life looks like, to talk to a comic artist and ask them what their life looks like. And that's actually why I was starting to kind of get in on the schools, because when I was at UNO, and maybe things have changed, but I've talked to people who've gone to UNO since, and they say it has not. We were not presented with career opportunities. Me and a few other students actually had to petition for them to allow us to show our work in the gallery and to hold gallery shows for artists who were students there. There were no opportunities. We didn't have a craft fair. We didn't have an art fair. We didn't have an art show. We did not have opportunities to start finding work. They didn't facilitate internships. They really did as little as possible to prepare us to be self-employed artists. SCAD did more than UNO did. And I think with like the New Orleans Book Fair, that is a prime opportunity to
talk to local creators.
Exactly, and to get people to start tabling and to start producing physical works if that's what they want to do, and selling them. And I think that's just like, they had, what's so weird to me is those schools had their like publishing branches there, like Tulane and UNO were there, but they didn't have their art departments there. They didn't have their students there. And I think that's like a really that's a lot of negligence on someone's part.
Yeah.
And considering how hard it was for me after graduation to find work and to learn how to work in this industry, I don't want anyone else to be as unprepared.
If those students were there, they didn't identify themselves as those
yes,
students.
and there wasn't a table identifying it as like UNO Fine Art Department or UNO Comic Artist Guild or anything that would, because I would have gone and chatted with them and I would have spent a lot of money supporting them, because while I don't send money to UNO, I would be happy to support young artists going to UNO, because I get that. But yeah, that was not, and also they didn't have the press tables, like Tulane Press and UNO Press were not next to each other. And I found out, and I was really surprised by this, that their Verdum is Abrams, so that's the only name I have, but he's attached to the UNO Press. He's one of the big sponsors or the big pushers for Nokus Fest and the UNO Book Fair. Like, I was never introduced to him in the 4 years I was at UNO. Never met him, did not come to the gallery show, and I was like one of 3 students who were actively pursuing comics. Yes. And I'm a little, like, I feel a little frustrated by that. I feel like a little annoyed.
Maybe
by
that position wasn't filled when you were there.
That's true. I didn't even know UNO had a publishing outside of textbooks. I didn't know they did publishing. I didn't know that they acquired books. So I feel like my department dropped the ball. They were so busy pushing me to go fine art and not do illustration at all that they didn't, and this was my problem at SCAD too. They were so busy trying to push me into being someone I wasn't that they didn't take any time to try to help me pursue who I was.
Yep.
So I'm going to call them out on it, because I think that needs to change. And maybe they have changed and we just did not see it here. So maybe that's an unfair statement. But how much did we sell? We paid $0 for the table. We paid $0 for parking. We paid not even for a tank of gas, because the Jetta gets really good gas mileage. I didn't order anything specifically for this particular show. I still had books that, we re-upped on our coloring books, but that was for Christmas as well. It wasn't specifically for this.
Yeah.
How much did we sell?
I don't remember. I think it was about 124.
And
it was a 5-hour show?
Yes.
6
yeah.
hours?
No, it was like 11 to 4.
Okay, so 5 hours.
5 hours. So I had done Nokus Fest in the past. I may have even shared some of the vlogs here. I definitely shared them as written blogs over on the old blog spot. So I really, really liked the vibe of Nokus Fest. It was getting to the point where I didn't necessarily feel like I fit in so much, but I still really like, and there were a lot of, the old Nokus Fest by the last year, there were a lot of people from out of state, and some of them were just they had kind of bad vibes, right? They're very rude. But that's not like a reflection of Nokus Fest. That was just kind of a reflection of where comics and zines were in that specific moment in time. I think the pandemic has broken a lot of us. So we've got new problems now. Everyone I talked to at the book fair seemed very nice. It wasn't as friendly and as open as CXC, but that is definitely a goal to work for, and they're just now coming back from like a couple year hiatus. So I really feel like this could be a good opportunity to kind of mold it into the kind of situation you want. Like, honestly, as a comic artist, that's always going to be my prerogative. I'm always going to be pushing for comics. I'm always going to encourage other comic artists to table at those kind of venues. Like, that's my bias. I'm not discouraging poets from being there, or prose writers, or zinesters, or musicians. I think the more of us, the merrier. The more diversity we have, the better. Even getting some crafters in there, especially crafters who are also illustrators, would be super cool. So, but I'm gonna like always push for more comic artists, because those are my people, and I really want there to be a bigger comic scene in Louisiana and in New Orleans. Like, part of the reason I moved back to Destrehan was to try to make it kind of like Ann Arbor, right? So that's always going to be my bias. So I want to see more comic artists there. Yeah, there are comic artists there, and they were very, very talented, as you guys saw. I want more. Give me more comic artists. I want it to be lots and lots of comic artists in the upcoming years. So if you're in Louisiana and you are interested in doing a very affordable grassroots show that has a lot of potential to grow, and you don't want to compete at craft fairs and you don't want to compete at AnimeCon, this could be a really good opportunity for you. And I'm really excited to see it continue to grow, and I plan on going for as long as I possibly can. I really loved it when it was Nokus Fest. I would travel for it when it was Nokus Fest, and I'm really excited about it now that it's the New Orleans Book Fair. So do you have any final thoughts?
No, that was a good show.
That was a good show. All right, so maybe we'll see you guys there next year. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, for going with us to the New Orleans Book Fair, for putting up with this weird lighting situation. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I challenge you to support your own local writers, authors, illustrators, poets, zinesters. If you don't live in Louisiana, or if you do live in Louisiana, by going out, finding them, chatting them up, and buying something from them. So that is my challenge for you guys today.